So back in March, I went to Crop and Create in Moncton, and I created a whole bunch of layouts. I will link the video below that shows all of the layouts that I made, and at the end of this video I showed you guys this half completed. I started it but didn't quite finish this layout, and this layout is done almost entirely with Pinkfresh Studio papers that were not mine. So my friend Stephanie Hart gave me some leftover Pinkfresh Studio that she had been working with. And she also gave me this black cardstock die cut background piece. And so what I did was I cut a bunch of squares so that each row and column has one of each piece of paper. So I'm using 4 different pattern papers by Pinkfresh Studio. You're going to have a hard time telling what they look like because they're behind these bars. But there's 4 different pieces and 1 plane in each of these columns and each of these rows. So it was a bit of a Sudoku to get it all to fit in a way that I really wanted these blank ones to be spread out, and I didn't want any 2 of the same pattern to be right side by side, and so it took a bit. I probably planned it a little bit more than I needed to, and then I used pop dots to separate the black plain cardstock background from the die cut piece with all of the squares attached to the back of it. So that's what it looks like. So I'm trying to, I actually just, hang on a second, this is scrapbooking for you. Only a scrapbooker this would happen to. So I'm cleaning my scrap room right now, and one of the things that I'm doing is I put all my layouts into albums, which they were just laying around before now. And as I was just about to put this in the back room, when I noticed, I don't even know why I opened it up. It says my resolution this year is to finish things that I start. I have a ton of unfinished books on my Kindle that I started but never finished, and a few business projects unfinished as well. Once this year's over, I want to finish one thing before I ... And that was supposed to be a joke, you know, like I didn't even finish this card before I moved on to the next one. So I was about to put this away, and I thought, I need to finish some projects, I guess. And then the very next thing that I did was I went to another pile, and here was this unfinished project. So I thought, I'm going to stop cleaning my scrap room because I wouldn't want to finish that project. And I'm going to scrapbook this. I'm going to finish this layout. There's all the pieces that I need are here. So Stephanie gave me, I already started by matting this photo on a piece of Pinkfresh Studio paper. And she gave me this piece that I thought I might use one side or the other, that I might just kind of double mat it just to give it a little bit more emphasis. I'm not entirely sure. And she also gave me these little sticky, they look like brads, but they're stickers, and these other kind of jelly stickers. And she gave me a couple of little die cut. I just went through and picked out a couple things I thought I might use and put them aside. And so I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with this. And my first thing that I need is, if I'm going to do a title, I want it to be very, very bold. It can't be black or it'll be not very readable. And I don't think it can be white, or I don't think it'll be very readable either, because there's lots of white in the Pinkfresh Studio pattern paper. So I'm thinking maybe like bright neon pink, bright purple, bright blue, bright yellow, something like that. So I'm going to grab my stickers, my letter stickers, and see what I come up with. Okay, so my room is such a mess that I actually can't even get my thicker basket. But luckily, on the top of my thicker basket are all of these brightly colored thickers. So I must have been looking for bright thickers recently, because here are a whole bunch of them. Not going to use the blacks. Not going to use these multicolored ones. I guess I could use these. They might show up quite nice, actually. So I'll just choose from these. I'm not going to use gray either. So I have to think, so this will be a process video, a real-time process video, so that you can kind of see my thought process right in the moment. So I don't know about these ones, they're too small. I'm going to say no to those. These ones are nice and big, and I like that they're hot pink. Love that they're hot pink, actually. I think I'm going to call this Blue Yeti. So it would have been nice to have the blue letters, actually. These are nice and bold. I like the readability of these because these are cursive. They're a little bit harder to read. I like that these are yellow, and there's sort of an orangey color in this, but there's no yellow yet on it. And they're not going to clash with the yellow accents that I already have picked out. Yeah, I think because I've got so much pink and stuff, I don't think that these oranges are going to work. So through a process of elimination, I really have these two as my main options. And I don't know, I think the problem with using a tiled letter like this on this layout is that there's already so much boxy squarishness going on that these would stand up nicely, but no. So we're going to go with no to those. So it'll be either these or these for the title. I think the title is going to say Blue Yeti. And I need something more bold that's not black or white to make this pop out even more. It's just kind of like the pink is not quite bright enough. So I'm going to go to my stash and look for a super bright, maybe a darker pink, like a hot pink, or even a blue. That's like this royal blue in my sweater or something. Ah, found something very bright. Okay, so this might do it. Yes, I think this will do it quite nicely. I'm going to outline. And I'm just going to speed this up in a second because I'm pretty sure that you guys don't want to sit here and watch me outline at regular speed because, trust me, it's pretty boring. So I've just sped this up and here we come back again. I'm cleaning up so everything is a mess. I don't have all of my best supplies right at hand, but that's okay. I'm going to leave a fair bit of this. Normally I might mat it very, very thin like this. I like a double mat with one of them being quite thin, but I'm not going to do that in this case because I actually want a lot of this purpley pinky fuchsia colored paper to show. So I don't do much of this live scrapbooking, so I might forget to talk to you. I'm used to singing along with the music on the radio, which I won't subject you to. Alright, so that's looking good, except that it's a little plain. The outside layer is a little plain now, so I'm just going to go on and hopefully do a little bit better job of outlining this time. I'm being fairly quick on this because I really just want to finish it up. I just got to get it in a book. It was a silly picture to scrapbook. It's more of a project life picture than it is a picture that I would normally scrapbook, but it was one of those situations where we were snowed in. We were supposed to leave one day and we ended up having to stay overnight, and so we got another night of scrapbooking in, and I was so done with scrapbooking. I mean, I wanted to scrapbook, but I just didn't really care about like capturing any certain memory or anything like that. I really just wanted to play around with paper and stuff. So this project actually was very good for that because it involved a lot of, you know, just kind of mindlessly sorting out the pattern. So there's that. I think that stands up a little bit better now that it has the extra mat and the outlining. So there's lots of square on this, and I'm thinking it needs some circle. It needs to be softened a little bit. So let's look at my doilies. That one isn't quite big enough. There we go. That one looks good. And then I always just like to make sure that I'm only using one, that I didn't accidentally grab two. If I wanted more of the doily to show, I could cut it up. But I think I like just the little bit showing. I think I like it like that. I'm going to leave it for now. And then what am I going to do with this? I guess I kind of have to decide. I was always thinking that I would just put it there, but yeah, I think that's the best place to put it because it doesn't fully cover any of the black squares. I want all of the black squares to at least be partially showing. I think there. Okay, so I know I said that this was going to be real time, but really it's quite boring. It's way too long, so I've just sped up another portion where I mess around with figuring out which adhesive to use on this. That Tombow Extreme is much stickier than other adhesives, so it will hold things like doilies that are shiny and that sort of thing. But it was so sticky that it was actually tearing up some of the paper backing, so I had to use a different kind of adhesive on the opposite side. Now here I'm just saying that I don't want it to be an off-kilter type of a layout. I want the squares to all be lined up with the other squares, just because, and I'm really sorry about all the horrendous noise. I don't know what's happening. I think there's some elephants upstairs. But now I'm going to place some embellishments and I'll just talk through this. So I have all these embellishments that you already saw that I had picked out way back in March. It's now October, so it's been a while. But I'm just going to place this little one so that it is kind of floating down below. And I don't want it to line up with the squares underneath of it, so I just have it over to the left a little bit from where the new cell begins. And then for this one, I'm doing my standard banner thing that I do, which is where I stick down the banner with regular adhesive, and then on the ends of it I put a pop dot, only I just did it on one end because the other one I knew was going to be covered with that heart. So I had to just change the staples in my stapler, my little tiny attacher there, and I just added that embellishment up there. And now I just put these three little brads in random triangle. It's a little bit too triangle-y for me. It's a little contrived looking, to be honest, but they are where they are, and I didn't really want to peel them up. I have randomly placed things. They look a little awkward, but that's okay. I want to get her done, right? So I think it's funny that neither of the letter stickers that I'm using are going to have the word blue. It's like a Stroop test. I'm going to put blue in yellow and then Yeti in pink. B-L-U. And if you're wondering how I'm deciding which word to put in which font, I thought that the word Yeti would be fun in cursive because it has a Y and a T and an I. And that's basically how I decided. If one of the fonts I was using was blue, I would probably make the word blue be in blue. But because I didn't want to use a blue font, I think it's kind of fun and unexpected to have the word blue be in yellow. So blue. There's so much gold accents on this that I think the yellow glitter stickers look really great. Blue, and then we'll put Yeti. I hope I have the right letters. I didn't check before. I often will kind of count them out and spell them, but Y, E, T, and I. Yep, so we do have it. Blue Yeti. There we go. That's roughly how it's going to look. I'll fix it up when I put it down. It's a little awkward looking right now. But the wax paper just gives me a sense of scale and size and where I want to place something. So I'm going to place it just like this. B. And these lines make it easier for me to line it up. When I'm mixing a block letter with a cursive letter, I like the block letter to be very straight. It just kind of accentuates the fact that I'm using two very different fonts. If I make the block letters be quite straight and lined up like that, it's too bad there's not more contrast there, but that's okay. And then I want the cursive letters to really accentuate the fact that this is cursive. T is the tallest, so I'm going to start with T. And I need my little scissors to trim up the pieces so that they will connect like cursive letters do. And I usually do this with this font. What I do is I kind of decide where this will go. I put my fingernail there. And I trim it. Let me zoom in so you can see what I'm doing here. So these are overlapping. I'm just going to pull this back like that. Need to trim a little bit more off than that. There we go. Do the same thing with this E. Trim it so that it goes right up against the T. Like that. So there, Blue Yeti. So I'm just zooming out here, and then I'm going to have a look at what embellishments are still left to use. I placed the main ones that I was the most concerned about or most wanted to place, and now I'm just looking at what's left over, and I'm really kind of just going to town and trying to use up all of them, just because there's no point in keeping them. I'm doing my journaling here on the side. I can't remember what it says right off the bat, but it's something about how the Blue Yeti made me feel really official when I first started to use it, and so making a silly face solved that problem or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it said, but you'll see it. So my journaling just says, it starts right here. Scott got me a Blue Yeti microphone for Christmas. I feel all official when I use it. Silly faces fix that. Don't want to feel official when I'm scrapbooking. And so I just kind of randomly threw a whole bunch of embellishments all over this layout, kind of clustered around here. Trying to think if I can even try to use this or if it's just too much. I mean, you know, like it's not already too much. There we go. I kind of like the too much look on this one. Too much but concentrated, just like right here. I feel like I don't want to just leave this one white sticker off the layout, so I'll put it right there and we'll call it done. That's it. So very, very, very different for me, very outside of my style, but it's done. And I finished something that was unfinished, so yay! So yeah, and I guess I should point out that the only leftovers I have from what Stephanie gave me are, I have this half a sheet of Pink Fresh Studio paper, and I didn't use this embellishment anywhere. Yeah, if it was brighter I might have figured a way to stick it on there, but it's not bright enough. So, and everything else it looks like I used, that's it. So, thanks for watching.